It wasn't just any mug. It was the mug I threw away months ago. And now, it was sitting on my counter, exactly where I'd always kept it. Moving into my own flat felt like a fresh starter. Chance to leave behind the clutter and memories of the life I'd walked away from. My place was simple, but mine. A one-bedroom on the 12th floor of a London high-rise, complete with a doorman and keycard access. It felt safe, secure, perfect. I had spent my first few weeks settling in, unpacking the few belongings I had kept after my breakup. The flat was immaculate, almost sterile, just how I liked it. I knew every inch of it, every cupboard, every drawer, every surface. So when I came home one evening and found the mug, my stomach dropped. It was a cheap, chipped ceramic mug with a garish pattern of cartoon daisies. I had hated it. It was his mug, the one he always used. After we split, I'd thrown it into a bin bag, along with everything else that reminded me of him, and watched the rubbish truck carry it away. Yet there it was, sitting on my counter, clean and dry, as if it had just been washed. I tried to tell myself I was mistaken. Maybe I had kept it after all. Maybe it had been packed away with the dishes, and I just hadn't noticed it until now. But something about that explanation didn't feel right. I shoved the mug to the back of a cupboard and tried to forget about it. The next morning, it was back on the counter. I stopped dead in my tracks, staring at it as if it might move on its own. The flat was locked when I went to bed. I had checked the door twice, a habit I'd picked up since living alone. No one could have gotten in. The keycard system required both a fob and a pin to access the floors. And yet, there it was, again, the mug I had hidden away, sitting in the exact same spot. I put it away again, this time in the bottom drawer under a pile of tea towels. That evening, I came home to find it in the sink, filled with water. I hadn't used it. I hadn't even touched it. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. The flat felt different, off. Small things started to unsettle me. A faint smell of cigarette smoke in the hallway outside my door. A creak in the floorboards late at night. The way the shadows seemed to shift in the corners of the room. But the mug was the worst. Every time I tried to get rid of it, it came back. I threw it in the bin. I found it back in the cupboard. I left it in the hallway outside my door. The next morning, it was on my bedside table. It didn't matter what I did, the mug refused to leave. I even invited a friend over for drinks, hoping they could validate my suspicions. We sat in the living room, laughing over cheap wine, when they noticed the mug on the coffee table. "I thought you hated that thing," they said, picking it up. "Didn't you say you got rid of it?" I froze. I did. I thought I did. They laughed, not realizing how serious I was. After they left, I found their coat still hanging by the door. I called them to let them know, but they insisted they had taken their coat when they left. I became obsessed with figuring out what was happening. I checked every inch of the flat. The closets, the cupboards, under the bed. There was no place for someone to hide, and no way for anyone to enter without me knowing. Yet the mug kept moving. One night, I woke up to find it sitting on the pillow next to me. My heart pounded as I stared at it, unable to move. The flat was silent, but the air felt heavy, like someone was standing in the room, just out of sight. The next day, I decided to destroy it. I smashed it against the kitchen counter, sweeping the shards into the bin. I even took the rubbish bag downstairs to the communal bins, watching it disappear into the chute. That night, I felt a strange sense of relief. Finally, it was gone. Or so I thought. I woke up to the sound of ceramic scraping against wood. My blood ran cold as I turned on the light. The mug was back, whole and unbroken, sitting on the counter as if it had never left. My hands trembled as I picked it up. This time, there was something inside. A note, folded tightly, with jagged writing that sent a chill down my spine. It's not about the mug. It's about you. The room felt colder, darker. My phone buzzed on the table. A message from an unknown number. I'm in.